Yeah, we have to.
You have to. So tell us about your company, Voi, because we recently had a news about Voi receiving the latest batch of investments, 22.8 million euros. Tell us about this investment. Why is it your company so sought after? Yeah.
No, so Voi in total has raised $450 million from top European and top American investors. And we raised another 25 million a couple of months ago. But the thing now with Voi, we're 6 years in. We have e-scooters and e-bikes in more than 100 cities in Europe.
More than 100 cities?
Yeah, so we have 110,000 vehicles.
110,000
vehicles.
E-scooters or e-bikes.
Yeah. So we do a few hundred million in revenue this year, and we're profitable, so we don't need cash.
That's great.
That's great.
When I visited Switzerland earlier this year for the Davos World Economic Forum in Zurich, I think I may saw some of your products.
Yeah, I think so. We're in, I think, 8 cities in Switzerland, including Zurich. So pretty much all cities on the German side of Switzerland.
Yeah, the German side. It's been snowing in Zurich. I saw like 2 e-bikes parking somewhere at the corner of a square.
Yes.
So why e-bikes? I mean, in the Chinese mainland, to my knowledge, mainly shared bikes, just traditional bikes.
Yeah.
E-bikes, they're available in some places, but not mainstream. Why e-bikes in Europe?
Yeah, I think in China it's a bit difficult with e-bikes and e-scooters. While in Europe, e-bikes and e-scooters are it's a great proposition to the users because European cities compared to Chinese cities are very dense. I mean, if you go to Zurich or if you go to Paris or London, it's very dense. Stockholm as well, where I come from. So the cities are really built for bikes, for e-bikes and e-scooters, and not that much for cars. And we think e-bikes is a very good complement to e-scooters for slightly longer trips. So e-scooters are perfect from 1 to 4 kilometers. E-bikes are perfect from, say, 3 to 10 kilometers.
So it basically satisfies the need for the whole traveling trip, right?
Exactly.
For an individual.
Exactly. I mean, in the definition of micromobility it's light electric vehicles for shorter distances. And most trips done every day globally are really short. Like 60% of all trips done globally every day are shorter than 4 or 5 kilometers. So it's a massive market. Just think how often in your day-to-day you have to go to office, to a meeting, to lunch. You do several short trips every day.
Okay, so in China, the reality is that most people use shared bikes to a subway station.
Yes.
Then they come out of the subway station and they find another shared bike, to ride to their office or home.
Yeah,
it's the
same in Europe.
We see hundreds of bikes parked outside of metro stations, on their way.
It's the same in Europe as well. I think 50-60% of our trips are to and from public transport stations or train stations. So micromobility is a very good complement to public transportation, to trains, for first and last mile.
It's interesting you just mentioned that your product, your services are already available in over 100 cities across Europe. How many countries are there?
So we are in 13. So
13, okay.
Northern Europe, Western Europe, and Southern Europe. Okay. We're not in Eastern Europe.
Okay. How cooperative are those city governments in working with you? Because in China, my knowledge is that the city government need to allow you to park in specific areas, and a certain positioning technology will help you, decide which area to be able to park your bikes.
Yeah, I mean, in essence, our technology is very similar to Aerodyne's technology, but we have smaller vehicles on the ground. So it's a lot of hardware, and we co-developed the hardware with Segway 9bot, so outside of Shanghai, in Jiangsu. We develop IoT connectivity technology and produce it in Taiwan. And we do a lot of software and data analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence. So it's a quite complex product, similar to drones. And the cities now in Europe, they are very collaborative because most European cities have a goal that 2030, they don't want petrol and diesel cars in the cities. So they are making it very expensive and very difficult to drive a car in the city.
So you're satisfying their long-term goal to go clean, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But that would also create your trouble of charging those e-bikes and e-scooters. How do you charge them?
So today we have swappable batteries on all vehicles. So we have operations teams driving around, swapping the batteries on the street. In the beginning, there was no swappable battery technology, so then we had to take the vehicles in and out pretty much every day. But now the battery technology has developed so much, so I mean, they can run for 3-4 days, and then we swap the battery.
Oh, wow. Swap batteries. I mean, we have swap batteries for some Chinese EV brands in China.
Yeah, like Gogoro.
Yeah.
It's like Gogoro.
Yeah, for NIO, if you know that brand.
Yeah, I know NIO.
Yeah, but that creates substantial cost for the company and making the company still at loss.
Yeah, but yeah, we're profitable now, so we're good.
You can do it. How much do you charge a typical trip on an e-bike or e-scooter? Like for 1 kilometer or 4 kilometers?
So €3, so 3.5 American dollars. What's that in Hong Kong dollars? It's 25, 30.
For a trip.
Yeah.
And people are happy to pay for that.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, considering the high living cost in most European countries, it's like a can of Coke. Right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're focused on the richest countries in Europe, so there is a strong purchasing power and willingness to pay.
You have a strong purchasing power, but how do you deal with a rising cost in general, especially in the latest few years?
I mean, we try to solve it through technology, to automate, to build better technology, so we don't need that much human touch in the operations. But it's still very heavy operations. We have a few thousand mechanics, field operations workers, so it's heavy operations.
Okay, let's talk about the hardware. You're saying you're unveiling, if I'm right, 3rd generation e-bikes and 7th generation e-scooters. Tell us about the features.
This is year 6, 7 for Voi, and now we are at our 7th, 8th generation of e-scooter, so pretty much 1 or 2 every year. And on the e-bike side, it's our generation 4. So now on the e-scooter side and the e-bike side, we try to think about the vehicles pretty much as sensors. So it's sensors and it's really a tool that should satisfy the needs for the consumers. And then we want to gather and collect as much data as possible from the vehicles to optimize placement, to optimize parking, to optimize the user experience, the city experience that you talked about, parking, safety, and all of that. So we really think about the vehicles as sensors. And now, one quite exciting thing on the new e-scooters is that we're adding computer vision.
You're adding what?
Computer vision. Computer
vision on the e-scooter.
Yeah, so like a smart camera. Because then we can solve things such as parking when people are riding on the pavement where they are not allowed to drive, and then you build machine learning models to in real time read that data and make decisions.
Okay, so how do you deal with the payment? In China, it's always scan.
Yeah, so you scan the vehicles, it's a QR code.
Okay.
And then you unlock it, and then you pay. You can be on a subscription as well, or you pay per ride.
Pay per ride. Okay, so it's very similar of what Chinese people do.
Yeah, I mean, we're basically like the Mobike of Europe.
Ah, you also have Mobike in Europe?
No, Mobike is out.
Okay.
They went bankrupt in Europe.
Okay, so you're specific in Europe, the culture of transportation and you just mentioned the urban density and people's travel behavior decided that e-scooters and e-bikes are more suitable for the market.
I mean, I think it would work in China as well, but you would need the politicians to push it through and also build better infrastructure, because your infrastructure for bikes is not very good compared to Europe. Europe has much more bike lanes, protected bike lanes, so it's like cycle highways, which is very safe.
Thank you for saying that. On manufacturing, where are your products manufactured?
So yeah, we co-develop with Segway 9bot, owned by Xiaomi outside of Shanghai. It's called the Zhangzhou.
Zhangjiang?
No.
Changzhou?
Yeah, 1 hour west of
Okay,
Shanghai.
Changzhou. Okay.
Yeah, and
It's Jiangsu province, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have factories.
Are you happy with what they do?
Yeah, I've worked with them for 7 years, and we're still friends.
Okay, so you keep innovate your product, keep designing them, and they keep OEM your product
Exactly.
and ship it to wherever market.
Yeah, to Europe.
That 13 countries.
Yeah,
Right.
to Europe.
Any plan to expand your current fleet from 100,000 e-bikes and e-scooters to an ultimate number of?
Yeah, I mean, I want millions of
8 millions?
Yeah,
So tenfold.
yeah, yeah.
When do you think the market would be ready for that?
I mean, it will take a couple of years, but we will get there, for sure. Because, yeah, cities are pushing out cars, and people need to get around. So then we will need much more e-bikes and e-scooters in cities all over the world. And we are the leading platform and company for doing that.
That's very impressive. That will be a huge change of people's way of life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, previously when I visited Europe in a number of cities, I only saw the people in Holland, in Dutchland, riding some bicycles.
Yeah, and they also have the electric cargo bikes.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead of cars, they do electric cargo bikes, which is very cool.
Okay. And you have 50% increase in revenue, more than double its gross profit, and reduced overhead costs. How do you do that in business operation?
Yeah, I mean, you build a great culture, and then you take the tough decisions. So yeah, over the last year and a half, we have increased revenue, as I say, with 50%, increased gross profit 50%. We have reduced overhead costs with 50%. So we're a much leaner and meaner team now. I believe in small but excellent teams. Because it's easy to overhire. Look at many of the big technology companies in China and in the US. They hired way too much, and then people do stupid things.
You're very straightforward. Then next straightforward question will be, how do you compete with other brands? I also know that company like Bird also operate.
Yeah, so actually Bird went bankrupt as well.
Oh, really?
So most of our competitors have gone out of business now. So we're only really 3 players left. It's
they didn't make tough decisions at the right
yeah, exactly.
moment.
Yeah.
Cut costs.
Yeah.
Raise efficiency.
Exactly. That's what you need to do. Use technology, cut cost, raise efficiency, focus on the customer.
So you're one of 2 or 3 dominant players on the market.
Yeah.
Wow, impressive. I'm glad I'm here to learn about your company.
I'm glad for being here.
Out of the 13 countries in Europe, any plan to expand to other countries? You just briefly mentioned about China, but Chinese regulations or local government management skills need to be lifted to be able to allow your customers to enjoy better experience.
Yeah.
Any other places?
I mean, I would love to go to the Middle East. I would love to go to Southeast Asia as well. So those would probably be the next regions.
Where customers are tech savvy,
Yeah,
quick
exactly.
to learn things.
Exactly. Countries like Singapore, Korea, Japan, Saudi Arabia, UAE.
Do you feel the urge to go there because you may face local copycats pretty quickly?
Yeah, I mean, I want to go as quickly as possible, but we also want to be disciplined and focused. So we need to make sure we win Europe, then we can do Asia, then we can do the Middle East.
Are you worried about that do you think this industry has high barrier?
Very high. Very high.
Why?
Because the surviving companies have raised 500-600 million minimum. No new investors will put in money into this industry. And we have all the contracts, we have all the technology, we have all the operations. So it's very difficult to compete with us now.
Okay, so you from previous 6-7 years experience and investment, you already built very high barrier for any newcomer to compete, at least in Europe.
Exactly.
Okay. Very great story about Voi. Let's talk about Guestit. It's one of the leading short rental platform in Sweden. How have you been competing with other big platforms, international renowned platforms like Airbnb?
Yeah. No, so we're basically a customer to Airbnb. So if you go into Guestit's website, it looks like Airbnb. So we have a few thousand units in Sweden, like apartments, villas, cabins, houses. And then the guests, tenants can either book it on our site, or they can book it on Airbnb or booking.com. And then we operate all of these units. So again, better customer value, higher efficiency, cheaper, it's clean, it's safe, and so on.
Oh, you provide more value for the customers.
So like serviced apartments and houses, where we do the cleaning, we do the safety, we do the pricing, everything, maintenance.
Okay, out of so many European countries, why Sweden gives me the feeling that Sweden stands out as a very innovative country? Is it the government support measures, or is it the Swedish culture, or is it, I don't know, is it just you guys?
I mean, it's a combination. So Sweden now has the most unicorns and most billionaires per capita outside of Silicon Valley. Sweden as a country. It's only Silicon Valley that has more.
That's a fact.
That's a fact.
What's behind the fact?
I mean, it's both government. Government is very technology and startup and scale-up friendly. Like there are no limits, no boundaries, no limits. So quite little regulations. In the 90s, the government also implemented a program where state workers got the best computers and best internet, pretty much for free. My mom is a teacher. My mom is a nurse. My dad is a teacher, and we got the best computers and best internet that existed in the 90s. So we spent a lot of time gaming, coding, doing music on the computers, and that now has scaled. So super tech-savvy, friendly government, and just network effects.
You invested in 60-plus companies. Yeah. What kind of companies or what kind of industries excite you the most?
Now it's a lot of AI, of course. I'm very excited about Nothing, Carl's company, because they will build the world's first AI-first mobile phone. And they are competing with Samsung, they're competing with Apple. So there's a lot of interesting things happening in AI, also in climate. A lot of like clean, abundant energy solutions, which is very exciting.
What is that Magic company?
Magic is magic.dev. It's a startup. They just raised a lot of money. So they basically build an AI co-pilot for engineers.
AI code?
Co-pilot.
Co-pilot.
So if you're a developer, if you're an engineer, you can use magic.dev as your coding partner. It writes the code, it does the code review on your code, so it helps you to code better. Very cool.
Helps with the coding, right?
Very cool.
Okay, they can follow up on whatever you want to do, right?
Yeah.
It's like a tool.
And it speaks to your code base as well, so it can clean things up, it can fetch things. Very cool.
Wow. Tell us about personally, how did you squeeze out so much energy in doing so many things?
No, I just love building. I love moving fast. I also do a lot of sports. I do like Muay Thai and some other sports. So that is important.
Okay, so it keeps you energetic. Have you been to Beyond before?
No, it's the first time. Carl and Gang invited me. So they texted me last week on Thursday. Like, Fredrik, can you come to Macau on Tuesday? And I was like, I didn't plan to come to Macau on Tuesday, but let's go. Okay.
How do you feel?
I love it. I love it. Great people, very great hospitality as well. So I love it.
We have flying cars. We have like 5.5G network. We have Huawei. We have robotics. And we have a lot of Chinese and global stuff here. What's your impression? What impressed you the most? Some examples.
I mean, very impressive, ambitious projects, such as the flying cars, such as the Volocopter, the 5G. I'm also very interested in security, so I checked out what's it called, high vision, as well. So very impressive technology.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because you have a OEM factory in Changzhou near
Exactly.
Shanghai, you already know a lot what's happening in this part of the world.
Yeah.
Right?
No, we love working with Chinese partners and entrepreneurs.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope you connect to you in more occasions. Thank you so much for sharing, Fredrik.
Thank you.
Thank you.